that money run on down the line. See that money run on down the line.
So Latanya, tell us a little bit about Eastside Community Development.
Well, Eastside Community Development Corporation is a nonprofit, but it started out as a grassroots organization, as a neighborhood or neighborhood association. And so we've come a long way, and we're just happy to be here. We provide the neighborhood with lots of resources and connect them to resources, and we're very proud of that. When the pandemic happened, we were the only place that was open, and so we found out that people needed access to computers, and so that was very important to us. And so we started on this mad hunt for a computer because we had one computer and one me. But I figure if we had like more computers, we can service more people. And so that would avoid people having to come back all the 10 times trying to get, simple resources like, connection to food stamp or to their unemployment, looking for jobs, doing virtual interviews, and then even, just providing, Wi-Fi to the community. Because a lot of people, did not have Wi-Fi. So we opened up our Wi-Fi, and then we also allow them to use our computers. And so we thought that that was a great help for the community at this time.
So we're in the Eastside community, but tell me, what is this Eastside community? Tell me a little bit about the history.
We've always had sort of like a mixed neighborhood, but then it became predominantly black. We went through an ugly phase where we had like lots of drugs and stuff like that, and the neighborhood pulled together, and we cleaned it up. So I think we're a resilient neighborhood. Recently, we've just gone through gentrification, but it's happened. We're all adjusting, and we're trying to find how we can unify and be one community.
The gentrification hasn't stopped, though. I mean, well,
hasn't.
It's happened. So explain, how is it that, yes, we're on the peninsula of Charleston, so we're only blocks away from a lot of money, and we're blocks away from, in this community, kind of how has it happened?
I guess because a lot of people have heirs property. I don't know if you knew, heirs property is when like a family has property, but they do not leave a will on how to dispose of the property once a family member dies.
And meaning that they've been here for generations.
Generations.
For a long time. They've owned it for a long time.
Owned it for a long time. The matriarch, the patriarch has died, and now they need to do something with the property. And what often happens is maybe one family member will pay the taxes, and then all of a sudden, all these family members want a piece of the pie. And so heirs property has been, it just kind of robbed the neighborhood, basically.
Yeah. So one family member pays the property, or multiple ones, and then all of a sudden they can't decide who owns what, and everyone wants a piece of the pie.
Everybody wants a piece of the pie.
And then somehow they lose control of the property.
Exactly.
And it gets picked up by a developer or resold to somebody else, and now you've replaced long, generational, property with somebody new.
Exactly, and it's heartbreaking to see it, because some of these family homes have been in their family for generations, but it's sad, no one lives forever, and so we try to make sure that people understand the importance of wills and trusts, getting appraisals of a property, speaking to family members. We try to partner with heirs property to have little charrettes so that people will know. And the problem is, in this neighborhood, a lot of people do not trust new people, and we just have to find a way that we can communicate how important it is to have a will so that we don't lose these homes anymore.
And it's all legal.
It's all legal. We lost, I think, maybe 89 to 90 homes.
Oh my gosh.
That may be associated with heirs property. So it's a lot.
So the role of Eastside Community Development, one of those things is to educate people on the importance of what is heirs property, and then what are the importance of legal wills and things like that to maintain continuity of that.
We have to do a lot of outreach, and sometimes we have to just go to where they are and meet them where they are. And that's what a lot of people don't like to do. They like to have large meetings, but sometimes it takes smaller meetings. So sometimes we have like smaller meetings with maybe 3 families, just because we know that someone has died in the family, you're in jeopardy of losing this property. You know, how can we help you, connect you to the right resources before it gets too far out of hand?
Yeah.
Have you ever been able to like negotiate some with the developers, or they come in and they do their
No, we
stuff?
don't do that at all. We try to like really educate the family. It's very important that they know what they have and how important it is,
yeah.
and the value of what they have. Developers, we can't compete.
This was a thriving community. I guess it's always been here from the peninsula. But I've been told there used to be a couple grocery stores, barbershops, this over the years, the thing has kind of ebbed and flowed. But there's some stores and things that have been around for a very long time.
Yeah.
Mary's Sweet Shop is one of those.
Yes. The Powell's grocery store, the Quick Stop, the Spot 47 is another one. Knights has been around. It's changed owners, but that's something that's been around in our community.
Right.
Top of the line barbershop has been around for a long time, but they're in danger of, this pandemic has put all those in danger of being just gone now.
How much pressure is it on you to make sure that this thing doesn't change for the bad?
It's a lot of pressure. There are a lot of people that own their businesses, like painters and stuff like that.
Yep.
To other people, it may not look like a big thriving business, but that's how they feed their family.
Right.
And while they may not get those big contracts, they've been in business for like maybe 15 or 20 years. And so it's very important that we connect them to resources to make sure that they can survive. The problem with that is the paperwork is so complicated. It's almost like you say it's for us, but we can't figure it out, you know?
Right.
And then when we get somebody to help us figure it out, you say, oh, thank you for applying, but you just
we're
did not
sorry.
we're sorry.
Yeah.
I see that's what's happening to a lot of, small business, like Eastside Soul Food. Hannibal's been able to weather the storm a little bit,
Hannibal's
but
the soul food place right over here.
right.
A block
So
away,
I don't know, how long they can do it as well. Miss Mary has been here. The Spot 47, they're facing some challenges, but they're still hanging in there. So we want to make sure that they get connected to those resources so that we can still have a melting pot.
What's the makeup of the community here in terms of is it a lot of service industry people, a lot of artists, a lot of local business? Or?
Now that the neighborhood has changed, I think we have a lot of developers, retired teachers. That's our elderly population. They've been in the neighborhood for a long time and they're in their 80s and they just want to age at home. Then we have our hospitality for the people of color that live in the neighborhood. That's how they make their dollars and cents. Then we have a few entrepreneurs. And then we have just regular people that work in the 9 to 5 everyday job. Another thing that's in danger is as you build these new homes to older homes, I think it's kind of like a disadvantage because our homes are older and we're under the old law. Right. Which means that we can't change our paint color and stuff like that, and we have to buy the very expensive windows. So yes, our house get in disrepair. But the new homes then raise up all these taxes, and then it makes our insurance, our homeowners insurance, rise to the top. So then we're facing that as well as we try to stay in the neighborhood.
And really keeping people in the neighborhood too, because rents go up.
Well, the rent is now $2,500.
In this area.
In this area here.
Right. And if you're working food and bev, or you're working some of these, or you're a teacher.
You can't afford $2,500.
I see that the city is trying to, come up with creative ways to provide affordable housing, but they still miss a large population. And they're only servicing, I want to say maybe 15% as these new homes come in, because they have to be mixed income. And I think as you see with mixed income, a certain amount of people have to make, X, Y, Z dollars. And then you got these people in the middle. And then you got another layer. And then you got us. And so I just don't think that will translate into a lot of housing for us, but I am hopeful that something will shake down. I know that they're talking about doing land trusts, but unless people make more money, I heard somebody say they're making $9 an hour.
Yeah.
So if your rent is for a 1-bedroom $1,400 or $1,500 at $9 an hour.
Yeah.
How do you pay light, water, and eat?
You don't.
Yeah, you don't.
So, and they don't want to raise the minimum wage to 15, but I just don't see how you want hospitality workers to work. And you keep them at 20 hours, so they don't have health insurance. And so it's just a lot going on.
I was told by a friend of mine, I live in Richmond, Virginia. I was told by a friend of mine that per capita, the eviction rates in Richmond and Charleston are some of the highest in the entire country.
I think so.
And it's because people can't afford to pay. You're making minimum wage. How are you going to afford to live in these kind of cool historic areas, and they just boot you out?
It would have been nice if it went $50, $100. You just got like a thing saying that your rent is going up $300. So it's just
Yeah,
like,
it's
yeah,
like
and
impossible.
it's legal,
Yeah.
you know.
That's
So
the worst day ever.
Yeah.
How do you guys get funded? Is it donations and grants, or what do you guys
yeah,
rely on?
so we do grants and donations, but we're small too. So we're like the small fish in the big pond.
But it would be helpful if people would donate to
It
y'all.
would be helpful. We do a lot of things. This year we fed like 75 seniors during the pandemic. We provide a virtual learning hub for our students. We still do a computer class. We do virtual interviews. We connect them to jobs. We try to do like a grant to help people fix up their homes,
Right.
but we never get enough. So $5,000 ain't gonna go that far. You know, you might paint the step or something,
Yeah.
but you're really not doing anything.
We're a coastal city. We got climate change coming.
Oh yes.
So LaTanya, I'd love for you to introduce us to some of the folks around the neighborhood. I know this is an area that's had some problems with flooding and
I
all,
know. All right, let's go across.
I'll hobble across.
Well, I got you. How about that?
Well, tell me a little bit about this spot.
Well, this is Miss Mary's Sweet Shop, and I believe she's been here for like 66 years or longer. She had the first restaurant and really one of our first entrepreneurs. She's been here. She transitioned the restaurant to like a boarding house, and then she did like the sweet shop. And so we all know her as Miss Mary's Sweet Shop.
That's very sweet shop.
And so she has this wonderful son named Joe, who we call our historian, because Joe's always bringing me newspaper, telling me this is what we need to do. And so I think you should meet Joe.
All
Let's
right,
do it.
Let's do it.
I look forward to it.
Hey, Joe. Come on out here. I want you to meet some people.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, how you
So
doing?
this is Earl,
Hey, Joe.
Hello. How you
Good to
doing?
see
Craig.
you.
and
Good to
that's
see you.
Craig.
Hi, Craig.
Yep,
How
Very
you
nice to
doing?
meet you, Joe.
Good to meet you.
Well, I've actually read about Mary's Sweet Shop, and I know that you've been in this neighborhood for quite a while.
Yeah, I grew up here on this corner because we came here when I was 8 years old. All right, and
To this physical location right here.
this physical location here. I was born at 27 and a half Amherst, right over here. Matter of fact, in that store is when my daddy went in to call the doctor to come, but he didn't come.
Yeah.
And being raised up here was not just my parents who raised me, but also the conversation with my neighbors next door, Lucases, and then down halfway the block. And being like I was their child, and how they was putting responsibility and using me to do certain things. The important and most critical behind cutting I got happened in 1971 right here. All right? It was not the beating my mama did, but that conversation with Daisy Lucas on what to do with your life and how you're going to live your life and save money and be responsible. And when she said to me, because I bought my second car, all right, the first one I only had 9 months, 'cause I didn't have no air conditioning, no FM radio, and those things. I came out here to show her the car, and she said, "I'm disappointed in you." And with that and how she talked, that was a behind cut, because she knew she was talking to me and my values, and just to stand there. But that's how we can have an influence with children within the neighborhood, and that's how it was all over this neighborhood. And that keeps me here because I want to do the same thing with so many of the kids, to help, that we can leave our love in this world.
What did this neighborhood feel like when you were growing up?
It felt like everyone lived in each house, was part of your family. But that conversation that we were having, that interaction that we were sharing, that Sunday environment where we all was home on the porch and enjoying family life and being able to talk to each other and really share with each other. To hear someone speak a different language to their kids, but then turn around and still tell you that language so you understand it. That made you part of wanting
That community.
the community and be there. And that was what was happening all over this neighborhood.
Some of these buildings were grocery stores and other.
On this corner, there were 9 businesses. There were 3 in the building over here, a barber shop, sweet shop, and a cleaners. Over there was a liquor store, a grocery store, and a dry cleaners. And here was the Jewish store, Mr. Henry. And there you had Woody's grocery store, and that pink door building was another liquor store. But the activity within the neighborhood was like around the clock. The people working together and working constantly. And they were actually teaching the children by how they see them work and always doing things, what they could do with their life.
So Joe, we're in front of your sweet shop. Give me a little background. What is this sweet shop?
The sweet shop was created back in the 40s and 50s, and they catered just to the children within the neighborhood and the snack foods and also the fruits that they would buy back then. Of course, kids don't buy fruits, apples and oranges like we did back then, but we still catered to them. No beer, no wine, just what the children would want. Also having that exposure to want, like my mama learned from when she had a restaurant here that she didn't want, and she said to me, I don't want to poison anybody. So when she did have a beer license, and she saw how they got drunk off that, she said no, that was that. And so she made it all these years without that.
Yep.
Wow.
Joe, you've been around for such a long time. There's been flooding on the peninsula. I think that's an understatement, right?
Right.
Tell me about it. I mean, is it worse? Is it better? What has it been like?
It's gotten worse. All right? It's gotten worse to where we're standing, that one time that we actually had a foot of water in here with the storm, within this block here. But you go back to 1959 and Hurricane Gracie, that water only came up right there where you see that blue cannon. Right? That shows you that it has increased within this area, but how do we address what needs to be done? And the Dutch dialogue and that conversation that we've had, it has not continued with the city where we can address the needs of this community issue by issue, so we get there and have it in place. One statement was made at that meeting about these drains and the connection to the harbor, and those pneumatic valves that would open and close on high tide and the situations like that. The 12 of them need work on it. If they would do 1 or 2 a year, or even when we look at the wall they want to build around town, if we would put away the money or certain feet of that wall we do every year, we could get it done before flooding get real serious within this area. Also look at what federal funds like they did in the upper state that they pulled down to save so many houses. All right? We can do that. We got to look at the character of the houses here and what it shows individually. That detail and the accomplishment of what they had back there with less equipment to do it, but they could really leave a building that spoke about that family and that parent desire of what a house and a home was. That we want to stay in place, because it connects us to what we have to do in the future and what we want to be able to say, like I said earlier, about leaving our love in this world. That at this level, the next 20, 30 years, we want them to be able to really function as good or better than what we've done years ago.
LaTanya,
Hi.
out of all the people that you serve, what percentage of them are impacted by flooding?
I would say 85%.
It's a thing for everyone on the east side.
They usually lose everything. Like you can see them put their furniture out. Then on the corner of Reed and America Street, it floods. Then by Sanders Clyde School, it floods. Where those children live over there, it floods.
And how does that
I can't-
impact? How does it impact the family though? I mean, once you have flooding,
It's-
then mold, then
It's mold. You have to throw a lot of your stuff away. You have to wash walls down if you can't afford to replace it with bleach, and that's hazardous as well. So it's like starting all over again,
That's
over and over again.
You-
Yeah, and then the people with older homes, they're in jeopardy of losing insurance because, they just did an assessment saying that, our area may be, in another flood level. So that means more money, or maybe if we can't raise our houses, then we might have to lose our houses. Does that make sense?
oh,
Yeah.
totally, yeah.
Is it a little bit about, political and economic,
I'm not sure. I'm not a politician. I'm just
Yeah.
a mama and an advocate of my community. But I don't know. I just know that, with people not making that much money and they're trying to hold on to their homes and the flooding issue, it just makes it kind of difficult because, you're facing multiple things.
Is this a community that's in trouble?
I think so, but I think I would like to see the city give more resources, and they've been doing a better job at, cleaning our drains out a little bit more. But I would like to see, with all these developments coming in our community, maybe they can have like an impact fee that just would be earmarked for flooding to help us out.
Yeah.
They're getting a rich neighborhood, and I would like for them to leave something behind that we all can use. So if they could put some money in the kitty for flooding, and our children wouldn't have to walk through the dirty flood water, or we wouldn't have to lose our cars, we wouldn't have to lose our furniture, our insurance, So I don't know what that looks like, but I would like to see us try.
And with climate change, it's just going to keep getting worse.
Right. So I think we need to start now rather than later.
And this is not just flooding from the ocean, clean water coming in. We're flooding, and we've got all of the bad stuff that this thing is collecting, and our kids are having to stand for their school buses in water, wade through water,
Exactly. So that all plays a big part. And, we've had wonderful groups and wonderful neighbors that try to clean and keep around the drains clean so that the water will go down. But we just need so much more.
There was an article, it was in the USA Today I showed you, where it talked about Charleston and the flooding here, and that the insurance per house could possibly go to $18,000 a year. That's enough emphasis right there that we need to move forward with all the plans. That's an emphasis where we need to have more discussion about how we address the flooding. But it's us who have to move forward, contact the city, and move forward on certain issues on that so we can show them that these things are being done.
It's your community, Joe. You haven't left. You stick
No.
around.
We'll never leave.
It's a beautiful community.
Yes,
I love
it
it.
is.
I love this place, and it's
Yes.
a beautiful day for it.
Yes, it is. Oh, yeah.
Well, Latanya, we appreciate the work that you do. I know if there's
Yeah.
some way that we can help raise the visibility, help you all out a little bit, we'd love to figure out a way to do that.
Please donate to us. We're a really good organization. I'm telling you, we really put it back in the community. I mean, we're a small organization, but we share every penny that we have with our community. I mean, we have all kinds of resources, the computer class, the virtual hub, we do workshops for financial literacy. So please, if you could give just $5,000, anything, we're not picky, whatever you can give, we're so appreciative. Thank you so much.
Oh,
And Joe,
you guys
thank you
the
for
work.
your years of service to the
Well,
children in this community. Thank you.
Well, I thank you for this. And this is one of the main things that y'all are going to do with this film. It's going to expose to other people in this nation within their heart what they can do. And that's what I want to happen. Nationwide, looking at the pandemic we are in, we can help individuals to get up out of there. If we could create the avenues in the community where people who've been downtrodden, who really gone through a suffering during this time, those who do not have jobs, to be able to get back, not just on that level, but a higher level, then we would be doing what we're supposed to do here. And that's why I'm hoping and praying and want to happen with what y'all showing.
Thank you, Joe.
That's why I
Appreciate
want.
that.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Joe, I told you that Craig and I grew up together in Bangkok, Thailand. One of the things that he used to like was something called a 1,000-year-old egg. Now, but do you have any pickled eggs?
Yes, I do.
Can I get me 2 pickled eggs?
2 pickled eggs, yes. Come
Awesome.
on.
Have you had a pickled egg?
I don't know that I have. I'm
This is
excited. I love
Joe-
anything pickled.
This is a Southern thing.
Yes, it is.
This is something that, when we go out in like bluegrass festivals and stuff like that,
You eat pickled eggs.
I love me some pickled eggs. So,
And we need to call you Hawkeye because it was behind the bananas and he spotted them.
well, first of all, I saw you got pickled. I don't know if it's like ham hocks or something like that, but
Yeah, that's
you,
the pig feet.
Yeah, you got the pig
pickled
feet.
pig's feet.
Yeah.
But
My mom grew up eating those pickled pig's feet.
Yeah.
yeah, but this is pickled eggs, and this is one of the things I love about. We got bull peanuts and stuff like that down here in the South. But
Yeah.
are you
All
a
right,
fan
let's
of
try it.
pickled eggs?
No.
Have you seen it? Look at that color.
Oh man, that's good. I like that.
Actually, the cooking and the processing that they did of so much of the stuff that here, my mama, when she had her restaurant, she and her aunt would actually jar up things, okay? They would spend, when she closed the restaurant, from 11 until 3:30 in the morning, and they would jar up all the vegetables so we'll have it at the end of that season, right into January. All right? That's before they came up with all the stuff they do now. But this
How much is this pickled egg?
69 a piece.
Put it on my bill.
Yeah. Well, I'm retired, so I'm not living off of this.
You have people do kind of IOUs, right? Is that?
Yes, yeah. On their bills and stuff like that, it's to help them out in situations where they don't have money. My mama did the same thing, but she didn't put the stickers up there. She had them in the book,
Oh, yeah.
like this. You can see it
kept them
right
up.
there.
Yeah.
Oh, she recorded it.
She recorded it in her own notebook, but I decided to put it up there to be a reminder. Because a lot of time with the 4 organizations I work with besides here, I can really forget things, but to have it there, and this is something I learned from her too, is when that individual come by and they haven't taken care of it, she would go to them and say, you could have just come and tell me that you did not have the money now. That would be the honest thing to do. She did not approach them to get at them about the money per se, but the honesty on how they present themselves and what was respectful
Right.
to her. And you find out when you look at that same letter I have right there, all right, that was one that I found that she did that the girl slipped that under the door and went on to her job that she had and let her know that she was going to take care of it down the road.
Yeah.
And that's the honesty you want to build. There were times that when they had the 2 schools up there, parents were busy and couldn't do something. They just tell the child, when you get out of school, go to Miss Mary, and they would be here. And she'd stop right then, and she'd go fix them something to eat, take care of them like that's her child, you know.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, Joe, thank you. Mary's
Well,
Sweet
thank you.
Shop.
Yeah,
When you're in Charleston, come on down.
come on down. I'll be right here. Happy to see you. Happy to share this life with you. 'Cause that is so important to have those conversations.
There's so much more to explore, and we want you to join us on The Good Road.
For more in-depth content, meet us on the internet at thegoodroad.tv.
Hear more great stories, connect to organizations, and make sure you download our podcast, Philanthropology.